This man deserves no introduction, but then again he does, because half the stuff that you see, all of the First Fridays things that Buddha runs are taken over from him. This open mic that I run used to be run from Charlie Newman at the cafe. He has had a ton of stuff published under fake names in the 90s through CC&D, and actually, the last time he had something published, it was Justified. It was a complete square, so it wasn't just very Justified. And that was like fun, like arrange, make that all fit on the page. But this man has been everywhere, has done everything, has started everything off for everybody, and that's why so many people here are cheering and are thrilled to actually hear him perform. So ladies and gentlemen, give it up for a phenomenal performance from Charlie Newman. Oh yeah! Change.
Change for $1. Well, thanks to Janet for the opportunity and all the open micers. I'm reading old stuff. I'm sick of reading my new stuff. So this book was published in '05, right? Mm-hmm. And it was, all the poems were written in '96. Wow. And I was actually titling things then.
Titles.
Which is, I don't do that anymore. So I'm going to actually say titles. It's such a thrill.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can cope with this.
This is called Dust. Dozens and dozens of piles of paper, each more corroded than the next, continuing in a long tradition of know-nothing knick-knack hack work, against which emotion staggers, rapture rundown film at 11, destination unknown, karma bankrupt, incorrigible, non-compass mentis, devalued, ex cathedra, rubbish in, rubbish out. Someone somewhere says something terribly disturbing for reasons unknown, unexplored, undiscovered. Keep up, keep out, keep in mind, someone somewhere says something no one can argue with, to no one who wants to argue anything. Everyone sits, everyone waits. Someone somewhere says something devious in its honesty, and nothing anyone else says strikes deeper to anyone with any depth. Grabbing at the grail, dabbling in redemption, grasping at straw men, hovering in neon corners, gradually slipping into grainy black and white newspaper photos. You tattoo your heart on mine, Rubenesque emotions and anorexic times, hovering in neon neighborhood bars, like it or not, electric evenings spent in drag, nausea sprawling through us like a cancer, sucking the joy from passion. You put your picture in my book or take mine from yours. Someone somewhere says something everyone understands too easily. Someone somewhere says something grim and funny and true and misleading, revolving, reflecting, reciprocating nothing we cannot abbreviate in action. Kudos, my man, kudos. Someone somewhere says something grimy and forlorn and treacherous and moral. You know the scam, grasping at the oblivious, grabbing the obvious, never letting go. Someone somewhere says something glistening, like a gift from the Lord made solid for the one living soul who needs it. Someone somewhere says something snaky or gracious. Dozens and dozens of piles of perjured testimony gone over and over in gory detail. You spoke regardless of the consequences. Someone somewhere says something. Dozens of piles of perjured testimony. You listened. Everyone does. Someone somewhere says something genuine and fair and honest and fearful, and you settled the score like a contract killer, uselessly, endlessly, compulsively exploring dozens of piles of pictures. Someone somewhere says something greedy or gracious or genius about dozens of piles of poems relegated to the trash heap of forgotten things gone bad. Someone somewhere says something gaudy and garish and pure to you and to me, and to someone somewhere saying something, dozens of piles of scribbles glowing with the power of words, evolving into something we cannot control or understand or fulfill or desire, gutlessly tuning in the TV to hear someone somewhere say something lusciously shallow, even at the cost of our souls, regardless of the consequences, glad to pay the price without hesitation. Someone somewhere says something elastic and evil and evolved, no one cares to hear for personal reasons, glad to relegate themselves to dozens of piles of paper as far as the eye can see. I'm not used to reading like that anymore. Damn. This is Dead Machine City. Dismantling the dregs of serenity, night falls hard as a drunk on muscatel. Everybody watches, everybody comments, nobody helps. Columns, hues, lines, all lined up. We are all lined up. Shadows separate us one from another. Now that there is light for shadow, and we have seen the light, and the light is good, rising against the petrified words of history. Towers of official paper waiting to tumble. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Goose-stepping into the past. It ends only if it can. Otherwise, hold on for the long haul. And no, history loves its long hauls. Village of, town of, city of tedious, timeless tensions. Everybody sits, everybody waits, nobody does anything. Rushing in and out, left, right, goose-stepping stooges, perhaps in this direction, perhaps in that. Neon smiles dimmed by history's deep soot. I have an insatiable taste for all this that you lack, and your heart is the sadder and weaker for the lack of it. The nuns help the rabbis load guns for gods of misfortune, not that they will be spared for this kindness, if indeed gods of any kind need help or loaded weapons. And through it all, dust settles on those kneeling in prayer. My feet are frozen in place, unable to take me to safety, even though I feel the earth tremble beneath me, rising against the frozen sights of the past. Unrequited abuse piled on unrequited abuse, damaged fax machines piling messages on deserted desks. Night falls hard as a dog without wings. Everybody gawks, everybody remembers, nobody cares. The tough guys turn their heads last but not least, studying the scene to make their stories more believable. Illuminati, incognito, non-compass mentis, XYZ syndromatic. What does it all mean? Eternity in a jealous rage over the spur of the moment. You yearn for a return to simpler times, letting today slide, letting tonight drift, succumbing to memories of dreams of raptures never lived. Perhaps you know how hopeless it is, perhaps not. Retreat doesn't seem to be an issue or an option where this is concerned. Demolishing the discard's bitter peace, you watch me struggle against the current, even as you drift easily with it. The mantle of memory sinking me like some dread Titanic, like some terrible tar pit Tyrannosaurus, shadows sinking in the twilight, gravitating to one another like the deaf to Beethoven, shoving their way to the front of the line, traipsing through the lobbies of silent theaters, kindred souls at odds, tearing at their faces with blackened hands. Everybody wonders, everybody questions, nobody answers. Somebody says something that brings tears to my eyes, regardless of the swaddling memories you provide, like some passionate Red Cross nurse. Everybody stares, everybody dreams, nobody blinks, so there is no more time to waste on games. Everybody cruises, everybody uses, nobody refuses. Somebody dies of an overdose and then returns to tell me tales of endless bliss. Everybody screams, everybody jabbers, nobody prays. Somebody takes our picture for posterity. Nobody knows how to develop it correctly, to put our souls in tissue-flat boxes. Somebody wants to save us, deliver us, teach us, nurture us, develop us, encourage us, tutor us, comfort us. Somebody wants to kill us, nullify us, erase us, sabotage us, exclude us. Somebody wants you and me somewhere else. Serenity dismantled, evasion assured.
Yeah.
And this is Jackson Pollock through pain. And you know, I used as a title the first line. That is so fucking weak. Jeez, I can't believe I did that. Jackson Pollock threw paint around like a muscatel wino, tossing his cookies on the corner of 9th and who gives a shit, knowing no one would dig the deeper meaning, slinging paint on canvas, not giving a good goddamn what people thought or said, lingering in intuition, lounging in emotion, orgasmic, organic, compulsively careless, kinetic karmic king on the ragged edge, totally wasted on the dregs of his own disappointment. Every day he sang the blues, blacks, and reds, torn between the gutter and the glory, guilelessly, guiltlessly, godlessly turning battle fatigue into jazzed up joy, surreptitiously, superstitiously, suspiciously turning out portraits of gods and demons, dancing in his head, nattering about in his heart, conjuring who knows what in his soul, screeching and singing and speaking in tongues, eagerly, earnestly, effortlessly turning out hyperanimated visions of eternal turmoil, so endlessly, extraordinarily effective you stopped and stared. Torn between the sewer and salvation, succulent satisfaction and endless emptiness, divine devastation and demonic delivery, the tyranny of taboos torn to shit, The Atlanta after Sherman, smoldering, shattered, silent, hyper-optic, hyperbolic, hyper-erotic luxuries, extemporaneous duplicities, non-negotiable superficialities, yielding to charisma. So Jackson Pollock threw paint every day, somehow hoping to find a little release, or maybe just a little bit of peace. Out on the main line. Piles of rubble, mountains of debris, remnants of who knows what, every molecule tensed for the unexpected, tenderized by the unremembered, totally passive, aggressive, and still you negotiated all so easily. Piles of heaps of mounds of dust, or whatever annihilation leaves behind. And I wonder how you understand it all so profoundly, so completely, so thoroughly. Or do you just imitate understanding, never giving me a clue to your confusion? Someone somewhere says something sinister, the naked Shakespeare laughs, denial and vials lining shelves like virgins hiding on prom night, yearning to be taken, transformed, turned out, thieving either as others fail, doing what must be done to survive, living in the valley of the shadow of plenty. You assume just enough to get by, giving the rest to charity, never waiting for a receipt, recording nothing for posterity, save the warm, comforting caresses that flow up your arms and down your legs like victimless crimes, executed in blessed solitude. You know the drill, sweet thing. Temptation laced with sacrifice, yearning flavored with regret. Someone somewhere says something swimming in sweat. Everyone stops to listen to what? Golden visions of some elegant spirit, or endless speeches by some faceless style tyrant, or the sound of the lock on the door of the only way out. This is Machine Head. This is the closest it gets to funny in this book. Remnants of a wasted history, dug up, drug out, displayed. Tattoo Beethoven reels back, hissing me, mama cat in a corner, looking for some easy way out of this thing of his, and there ain't none, rude boy, baggy pants, map arms, swirling dervish overhead, thrash master careless, my darling. Black leather out of sight, all-weather skin-tight skinhead on the move, with nowhere to go but the mirror, sensitivo in the zombie zone, vomito loco, done in, turned out, passed over, a never-was wannabe, praying to be a has-been and settling for reruns. This is Joan's Angel. How does it feel to want, she asked, sloshing around knee-deep in nightmares, surrounded by piles of mountains of heaps of memorabilia, garlic crosses over doors, and some scratchy old black and white horror flick. How does it feel to not want, I thought, without saying a word, hanging tough and waiting for the man in the midst of nothing in particular? How does it feel to need, she asked, sliding from light to shadow amidst a quiet diet of yes men, of notorious rejects, of women who knew better, an impenetrable fleshy wall guaranteed to hold not 1 minute longer or 1 minute less than she would need to conclude this piece of business safely. How does it feel to have, I thought silently, eyes darting from side to side, looking for the man, alone, vulnerable, cold. I am the man you're waiting for, she said, making eye contact I could not break. I have what you want, she smiled. You are what I want, I thought. A bus passed between us, a blur of faceless gawkers, rubberneckers, witnesses, shuttling home after a long day of working, of shopping, of becoming, and when the bus passed, she opened her arms to me. We are one soul and two bodies, she said. Time to come home. Two-poem warning. Life and death in the valley of the shadow of plenty. Maybe it's the billboards or the magazines or the newspapers or the fact that so many need so much of the time. Maybe it's the piles of dead bodies performing daily on a television near you, or the coming attractions of past events soon to be replayed, a minor league respite from a present that simply doesn't matter. Maybe it's the caskets or the creaking hearses or the mourners or the pallbearers who get younger and weaker and nearer to death themselves every day by ever-loving day. Or maybe it's there but for the grace of God go I, and who's kidding who? Even God could run out one day. Maybe it's who's next? Who knows? Who cares? In the end, you see, it's no different from playing roulette in Vegas. The house wins. The house always wins. This is the last piece. This is what, maybe half of the book? Something like that. Dead City Mad Song. Shabby days and shameful nights and weekends in the lost and found with Dr. Seuss and Dr. Ruth and Dr. Jack. And no one appears to me like magic, and no one appears to me to save the day, and no one appears to me walking on water, or tending lines with a gentle word, or picking my card out of air so thin butterflies drop like stones. And on the flickering TV screen, one celebrity corpse follows another, dreaming of escape to the tar pit, while I just sit here draped in soft, sensuous shadows, counting my chickens in slaughterhouse fives, praying for return to better times, counting on my Shabbos goy for a light in the darkness and a lift to meet the man on the corner of mirage and make-believe. Do you see what I'm saying? Crime and clemency dance across the screen like Fred and Ginger, waiting for a break in the action, a break out of amnesia, an outbreak of altruism, and who do they think they're kidding? Smiles plastered across their kissers like Christmas lights in Tinseltown. Shoddy days and shriveled nights and weekends in the free clinic waiting room with a princess and a nun and a pack of paparazzi fiending for fabulous shots of open wounds and blood-soaked accoutrements and death rattles, ignoring me and my internal bleeding, allowing me a soussault of dignity, relegating me to the pack of nameless, faceless, innocent bystanders, praying sotto voce for redemption, negotiating salvation under the table, exchanging hope for fantasies. Sheltered days and shattered nights and weekends in the valley of the shadow of death with Yahweh and Jesus and Jim Jones doing his best Martha Stewart for the dispossessed and succeeding in his mind. Shackled days and shivering nights and weekends in an open coffin draped in flags with a military hero and a race traitor and an unknown corpse all wondering what went wrong.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We've got a great, phenomenal crowd, and you can sit and then come back. I would love to take a group shot. We've got a bunch of great people here. I'd love it if afterward we can all come up and take a photo. It would thrill me to no end. If you want to stay in here, or if you want to sit and come back, whatever you'd like to do. Well, I was going to first talk about future features, because we've got such an awesome lineup. Now, in 2 weeks, because we seem to run every 2 weeks, we happen to have on May 22nd is Kathleen Schandelmeyer-Bartels is going to be here for a feature in 2 weeks. Oh yeah, give it up. I know, I was something applause, but yay! And because we've got like a slew of bonus weeks. I've got on May 29th, we've got GPA, but Gonzo's going to be here in the end of May. Awesome. We've got Robin Fine. We've just heard how awesome she is on June 5th. And you also heard how awesome Andy Carroll was. She's going to be here on June 12th. I could go on and on. We've got Esteban Colon coming up. But you can always find the information I want about it at catholicarts.org/thecafe, which is a place that also runs things like podcasts, which by the end of this week we should have a Charlie Newman podcast. And since we've got an extra week, I might have an open mic on Charlie Newman podcast the week after that. But now I have to do a little bit of, I think other people say this is like, plug time or shameless self-promotion. If anybody has nothing going on in a couple of days, go on over. It's not my open mic, but it happens to be GPA's open mic. If you go to Let Them Eat Chocolate for Poetry Love Letters, you'll happen to catch 2 features. Me and Buddha 309. We're going back and forth with poems, and we've got a piece called Science versus Mysticism, since I'm doing periodic table pieces, so this should be really, really cool. I've got music going on my stuff. I know he's got props and stuff. It should be a really great time. 5302 North Damon? 653. Oh God, you guys know it. So I mean, it's north on Damon. It's
306 North.
see, wait, you know what? That's not bad for not having a memory for that. And he's singing it for me. And so I hope to see everybody. I have info about stuff on. If people have Facebook, you can see a feature, and I've got a listing for it there as well. And I really hope to see all of you in 2 weeks for the Kathleen Shannemeyer Burials feature. And thank you. And I'm going to give a big old applause, and then I want everybody to come on up here for a photo. So thank you. Get your butts up here. We're going to move this out of the way because John's the handy photo guy, and I'm going to figure out how to put this up here. Just that was up there. And I'm taller, I could be dramatic or something. That's fine. I mean, Charlie and waiting on John's freaking up here. I see lots of people.
Knees don't do it anymore.
Standing up is hard to do.
It is. Neil Sedaka said that, didn't he?
Get over here! You're tough, get over here. Get over here. Look, the taller people be towards the back, I'm sure, right?
Center? You gotta be in the middle.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Coming up, come up.
Something shorter. And John is the photo guy because we've got a good camera to pull this stuff off. And well, I've got taller people and I'm like, I'm gonna have to get on my tiptoes to pull this off. Can you get everybody in?
Can you get us all in?
Yes, I can. I'll try to take them fast.
Can you get it all?
1, 2, 3. Oh, you know what?
Why don't
Let's try
you-
with the power.
Make sure the lens
Now
caps
there's
are
no
off.
film anymore.
No batteries?
Now it's all pixels.
I got this on my face. So I can do it again.
Yay for poetry.
Yay! Do you want to, do you think we're good? Are you good on that?
I think we're probably good on those.
Okay.
Oh wait, everybody go back up there. One more. Let's get everybody one more.
It felt good.
Maybe
And
2.
look, it's just so tall. I'm like, kick my toes. I want to be taller.
1, 2, 3. So you should be in focus today. Because I focused on you.
Janine is in focus.
And so that everybody knows, I will post it up on Facebook and I'll put it online.